Nuts of the Dirty Table.
Dirty Table Nights. Awesome entertainment for your delight. We are the Dirty Table Nights. Live on Twitch Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night.
Heroes playing games, talking pop culture news. We got what you need, we'll be here for you. Crossover will tell us if we're wrong or right. Hang out with the gang every weekend night.
Nights. We're the ultimate team.
Nights.
Come on and check out the stream.
Nights. We'll be chasing our dreams.
Believe it.
Nights.
There we
Nights,
go.
nights, 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 nights.
Nights.
We are the Knights.
Damn it.
Low quality, high energy production here at Knights of the Dirty Table. What is going on, everyone? I am your host, whoosh, 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 Merrick Henry, and with me, as always, is off to the side.
Boosh, 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 Barney Landman, the Beard Knight himself.
And
Me, Sarah. Hi, guys.
High Priestess of the
High
Dirty
Priestess.
Table Knights.
I did a cool little call.
Awesome entertainment for your delight.
You're welcome.
we hope it's delightful, because otherwise we have no legs to stand on.
Sorry about that, cutting off the end of the theme tune there.
No worries.
I was getting all excited using studio mode, and
We are
clicked the-
professionals. We know how to keep a show going.
Yeah, let's just pretend it didn't happen. Yay!
Part of our brand.
We
What's going on,
here.
guys? Welcome back to our epic Power Ranger week that is going on for the rest of this week, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, we're just going to be talking more Power Rangers. We're going to be playing more Power Rangers games. Jack Lowe, one of our favorite knights, is going to be on the show. To be fair, all of the knights that have been on are all our favorites.
knights. He
Poor
is-
choice of words.
He is, though. He's great.
But he will be on
love Jack.
later today. We love Jack. We're thrilled to have him back.
The cosplay king.
Yes,
Whoa.
the
I
greatest Anakin.
don't know this Jack, but
Oh,
I've been
there's the
hearing
dagger.
a lot about him.
There's the
Excited.
dagger coming out of the knee again. Oh, I've had to watch that clip like 5 times, and it doesn't get any easier.
I'm glad. I'm sorry that these triggers are.
I mean, he's a villain.
Affecting you.
He's a villain, so
Well, why don't we talk a little bit about what is going on behind me? So for today's episode, I wanted to talk about my personal favorite season out of all 27 seasons of Power Rangers. What's great about the Power Rangers franchise is that you have options. If you don't like one season or one specific plot line or storyline, you can try again with a different cast of characters in a totally different environment, taking on a totally different villain. It works. Now, excluding the first 6 seasons, as I mentioned yesterday when I was talking about our brief production history of the show, excluding the first 6 seasons, every other season has its own beginning, middle, and end. They're all self-contained stories. So if I had to pick one season that I would suggest to any fresh fan of the show or someone who's looking to dive in and see why I'm so obsessed with this, this one season, I think it has the best performances out of every other season. It has the highest stakes, and it's the one that I fell in love with. Sarah, I see you in messing with me. Yeah, I'm not gonna let that
Damn
fly.
it.
I'm loving these. I'm loving these graphics.
Oh yeah, they're dope. The morphing sequences are so dope.
Yup.
The one that I fell in love with the most as a kid, where all the nostalgia is super real for me, it's Power Rangers Time Force, for sure. My absolute favorite season. It premiered in 2001, and that's the main setting of our story. But at the beginning of this season, we actually start in the year 3000. Earth has become a utopia where almost everyone on Earth has a great life. Crime is considerably down, and there are plenty of resources for the Earth to prosper from. The Time Force is a police organization that stops time-related crimes. Apparently, the biggest threat to anyone in the year 3000 is time travel, just messing up everything that they've worked for the last 1,000 years. No big deal. Light.
Let there be light, he said.
I
and
can
there
see
was
myself.
light.
The Time Force has captured every single villain on Earth except for one. Ransik. You know, the guy that's
The
just
guy with a
pulling,
knife in his knee.
pulling out knives in his knees.
That's like his thing.
That is his thing. His body is a living weapon.
Oh.
All of his bones he can just pull out at any given
Kind
point.
of like me.
Kinky?
You laugh. You laugh now. No, not kinky.
Anyway.
The threat of violence is not kinky.
So Ransik is a mutant, very similar to X-Men lore. He is a deformed creature, an outcast by society's standards. He was created in a lab sometime before the year 3000, and he just kind of roamed the Earth aimlessly until he eventually created a criminal empire that involved other mutants. He leads an assault on the Time Force at the start of the season, and then he travels back in time to the year 2001 to take over Earth. Before this assault takes place, we do meet Alex, a Red Ranger, and Jen, a Pink Ranger. These two are engaged. I know. Love.
Aww.
Ew,
Yeah.
cooties.
In the battle between Alex and Ransik, during the assault, Ransik actually kills Alex. It's one of the few times that a villain actually kills a Ranger on the show.
What?
Crazy. Crazy.
So that you knew what you were getting into from day one.
Yeah, an actual good story. Jen makes it her mission to travel back in time with the rest of the Ranger team to capture Ransik and the rest of his crew. They go to the year 2001, and the Time Force, they hit a snag. They can't actually access any of their Ranger powers without a fifth member to activate their DNA codes. So they take Alex's morpher from the future, not realizing that they needed this DNA in order to activate it. So they meet Wes, Alex's clear descendant, because they're the same exact actor. After some convincing, Wes does join the team, and they're all ready to take down Ransik together. And that's basically the gist of the opening story arc. But, I mean, if you want to know more about it, you're just going to have to watch the rest of the season on Netflix. I'm not your personal Netflix account. But why is it so good, in my opinion? I mean, Power Rangers typically follows the plot lines of its Japanese counterpart, Super Sentai. It's as needed. They'll use the footage from Japan and make their own stories for American audiences around that. But this time, they actually follow the Japanese story much more closely, feeling much more like an adaptation rather than a different story altogether. In Super Sentai, heroes are often more likely to die than in Power Rangers. In this particular season, no one really died. I mean, Alex did die, but eventually he comes back as part of the plot. It's a whole thing, because time travel. But at least they made it seem like they couldn't carry on the fight, even if they got really beat down, which felt super fresh for the series, considering that multiple characters suffer from battle multiple times because these mutants are deadly. Instead of using Japanese costumes for their main villains and simply just using that footage and just splicing it together, they often create American villains with American actors to give it a nice original flair. Ransik is one of those actors or characters with an American actor. Vernon Wells is the name of the actor, and as I mentioned off camera before, he was actually a prominent character, and I believe in the Mad Max sequel from the 80s. He was also in Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger, which was actually the precursor to what eventually became the Die Hard franchise.
It was? I didn't know that.
There was meant to be a Commando 2
I heard of
sequel.
Commando.
Yeah, there was meant to be a sequel, and then Arnold didn't want to come back, so Bruce Willis signed on, and that's how Die Hard came to be.
Well,
Love a bit of Die Hard.
Absolutely. Ransik is menacing, and while the actor Vernon certainly can chew the scenery at times, it's fine because it's Power Rangers. I don't care. I still wouldn't want to go up against him because I think he's just ruthless and super powerful. Many Power Ranger villains from the early seasons are comical at times, but with the start of this post-Zordon era from 1999 to 2002, the show kind of went more of in a direction of keeping their villains more serious and not really giving them comical moments, which is nice. Yeah, I just think Ransik's the most powerful villain in the Power Rangers franchise, personally. And there are reasons that relate to that if you watch the show on Netflix. So, again, I recommend it. His personal story continues in the following season and also concludes when this Time Force team and then the next team from the following year, Wild Force, team up. And we hadn't seen that kind of villain arc in the show before, or really any concept where a season starts and ends but also carries over into the next season via the team up. That was new and exciting for the show. So aside from that, all of the actors, all the Rangers especially, they're almost all invested in their characters in a positive way at all times. They're the most believable cast I've ever seen on the show. I don't think anyone's really phoning it in. I don't think anyone's overperforming. It's a really nice change of pace. They're convincing as heroes. Almost no line that they deliver feels dumb or ever feels like it's too much. It's all organic And yeah, I just thought they really flowed naturally together. They're all still really good friends. They all go to cons often and they're signing autographs, but they all very much keep in touch.
That's awesome.
And I don't
That's
necessarily...
always a good sign.
Definitely. I don't know if all the other casts are as close, but they're pretty open about how close they are as a cast, which I think is great. Also, it has the best theme song in the entire franchise, in my opinion. Time Force is my favorite theme song out of all of them. It's a great use of harmonies, nice epic build-up.
Until we released ours.
Until it really starts to make it worse. I just think it's catchy as hell. I especially fell in love with the toy line, and you can see some of them right over here, our Time Force specific figures. I remember wandering through Toys R Us, rest in peace, as a kid, and I was always excited to see this giant wall of green. And it's just a huge bit of nostalgia for me. It's my favorite toy line from the Power Rangers franchise. So imagine how excited I was to get my first Halloween costume as a Power Ranger, being the Red Ranger. I was ready to save the day. I was the Red Ranger. What you talking about?
Huh?
Overall, it's a 40-episode story with a continuation of 2 episodes in the following season, as I mentioned before. For this series, this was, I think, the best execution from the cast to the writers to the production crew to the directors. It's the best the show has to offer, in my opinion, and I recommend it if you want to know why. I am deeply obsessed with this franchise. It's because of this season. Plain and simple. And in a little bit, we are actually going to play the PlayStation 1 game, Power Rangers Time Force. I'm going to be playing with Jack.
Ooh. Oh, you're playing that on the PS2?
Yes,
Can you
PS1
play-
on the PS2.
Can you play all PS1 games on PS2?
Yes,
Oh, I didn't know that.
it's one of the
I'm
reasons.
learning so much today.
It probably contributes to why it's the highest
Yeah.
grossing system of all
I
time.
would say, yeah. Even Crossover didn't know about the Commando Die Hard connection.
It's such a weird connection too. It's just
Yeah.
like, how did you go from this to
They're very different.
one of the biggest action franchises of all time? They definitely rewrote things, but that was one project just completely morphed into another one, essentially.
Ha! It's morphin' time.
I know. I hate myself. So before we get Jack in here, I would like to just briefly go over some of my favorite episodes. Now, I'm not typically a fan of like listing very specific episodes across an entire series because that just seems like a rather large job that I don't want to get involved with. But
also, it's like you're only going to get the most out of that by watching the series as opposed to
Exactly.
no one's
Yeah,
going to go and watch
hearing about it.
a specific episode.
judging an entire season, it would be the equivalent of judging an entire like movie franchise and like ranking those things, which
Exactly.
I have done before, but I can't do individual episodes. I think good stories usually, take place within a longer than 20-minute construct. Like typically an hour is a good length to tell the episode and the story in it. So I'm just going to list some of my favorite arcs from the overall series. It's not a ranked list. They're just some of the stories that have stayed fondly with me from what I have seen over the years. As I mentioned before, the Time Force Wild Force team up, reinforcements from the future. It concludes plot lines from the previous season, which was rare for their specific team ups across the franchise, but it just had what I consider to be the highest production quality in the history of the show, excluding any of the finales where like they destroy home bases and stuff. Just the action sequences were really well thought out. There was character moments for every single ranger, which is kind of unheard of for these team ups because usually they glance over a lot of things. And it was just really colorful as hell. I think almost every single color across the Power Ranger spectrum was recognized as part of it. And so I'll briefly mention this, a little bit of nostalgia for me. So my mom happened to tape part 2 of that team up that Saturday morning. She just happened to remember that she taped it for me. We were getting ready for Rieta Flea Market, so I was up at like 5 a.m. just kind of waiting to get out there. And she said, oh my god, I forgot that I taped this for you. So I watched it, not knowing that there was a team up or anything going on. I just happened to jump right into it. And that was the first time I had discovered that the Lunar Wolf Ranger from the Wild Force team, the 6th Ranger, also had the name Merrick. So my mind was blown that Saturday morning. It was the greatest
I
day
have
ever.
a twin.
Oh, I bet. I can't imagine like watching one of your favorite shows as a kid and hearing your name. Yeah. I would have been pretty mind blown.
It stays with you. Next up, I have the Power Rangers Zeo Gold Ranger arc. Now, if you know anything about me, I absolutely love my Six Rangers. You can see if you are a Power Rangers fan, I have a lot of Six Ranger weapons and Zords and figures all over the place on the table. This 7-episode arc in this season, it stood out to me more as an adult rather than a kid because I got to watch the complete season for the first time on Netflix only just a couple years ago. It stood out because the first half of the whole season really stunk. Any stakes or tension from the previous season where they lost their base and they lost their powers before they got new ones, all of that was just done away and the status quo was reset. And it just had way more comical episodes than I cared to have. They didn't want dramatic storytelling for that season to start. Don't know why, but that's what they did. The second half of the season, when the Gold Ranger arc kicks in, it's when the show does a much better job of not only creating engaging enough stories with all of their characters, especially for a kids show, but they also played around with really establishing a Power Rangers universe and began to drop in concepts from previous seasons. And they gave a sense of payoff up to that point, very similar to like Avengers Endgame. Like it felt like, oh, I've watched up to this point. I feel like it's been worth my time. We haven't forgotten meaningless story concepts for whatever reason. It's very interesting also to see how the show handled its reveal of who the mysterious Gold Ranger was. There were many red herrings, including Billy, the Blue Ranger from the first team, who wasn't a Ranger at that point, which is why he would have been a red herring for this. The latter half of the Bulk and Skull duo, Skull was actually a red herring for the Gold Ranger, and Tommy Oliver's brother on the show was also considered a red herring, who actually, fun fact, was played by the actor's real-life brother.
Huh.
Which would have been really cool, two real-life brothers being badass Power Rangers, right? It would have worked. I don't know why they didn't go with that angle, but it would have been cool. They could have been very interesting dynamics, but they actually just wound up going with bringing back Jason Scott, the original Red Ranger, to be the new Gold Ranger. So,
Which is that was a good move.
Pretty cool all the same. Yeah, it was still a good move. What was also more interesting with Jason as the Gold Ranger, he actually had more character development in this fourth season of the show than he ever did in Mighty Morphin while he was on. Anytime Jason had an episode devoted to him in the original series, it always involved Tommy. He got no character development before Tommy came in, and any other character development always involved him. I don't understand why they did it. We love Jason as the original Red Ranger, but he never got any scripts for himself until he came back for this season. So I definitely like Jason a lot more when he was this Ranger rather than the Red Ranger. Another episode, Power Rangers Turbo, the following season, Chase into Space. This was the finale for that season. And I love my finale arcs. I could watch a whole marathon of just Power Ranger finales.
Endgame?
Just like skipping. Absolutely. Just give me Endgame 5 times in a row.
Power Rangers Endgame.
It's only 15 hours, no big deal. But yeah, this finale definitely stuck out to me from this 5th season. It was the first time that I ever saw an enemy force like totally destroy the Power Rangers home base or the command center that had been seen since the beginning up to this point. Enemy troops came in from all sides, on the ground and above, coming in through the roof, and they just totally overwhelmed the Ranger team. It was the highest tension that the series had seen up till this point. If you were watching live as a kid, the Rangers lost. The Rangers lost their powers, their morale, and they lost their home. It was kind of epic as a kid. In order to get new powers for the following season, they had to get on a spaceship and go into space. It was only the second time in the show's history that the season ended on a major cliffhanger, getting ready to adapt a new Japanese season of Super Sentai footage, changing over the costumes and the powers and everything else like that. But prior to going into that 1998 season, as I did mention yesterday, that was before the show was about to get canceled. So they were already setting up from the second half of that Turbo season for the following season. They knew that they were going to get canceled, so they just figured, let's just set it up and tell the kind of story that we want to. But obviously we know how things worked out because Power Rangers is still here. Yay! Another episode that sticks out to me is from Power Rangers Dino Thunder Back in Black. In 2004, Power Rangers reached a milestone. It had reached 500 episodes. Now, just for the record, since then, we are almost at the 1,000 mark as of 2020. So next season, we'll get that 1,000 episode, and they better make a big damn deal out of it.
Hell
Otherwise,
yeah.
I'll be super disappointed.
Woohoo!
What is the next season? What is the current iteration?
The current iteration is like a how would I put it? It's like a group of heroes that are protecting this energy resource that could potentially power this evil virus. Essentially, it's like a really weird way. They're kind of like spies in some kind of way, but like not quite. The following season, next year's set of Rangers is also another Dino team, so it would make sense for their 1000th episode to fall in that category. So I hope they deliver. We'll talk about that another day. So in this season, back in 2004, Tommy Oliver came back and became a mentor to this team of Dino Rangers. He had since retired from fighting crime, and he became a high school science teacher. Cool. Of course, that was a cover for the fact that he could fight against a new threat coming in towards planet Earth, but we can talk about the overall plot of that for another time. So Dr. Oliver, in this specific arc, he gets captured by the enemy early in the show's season, and it's up to his new Ranger team to save him. In the 500th episode of the show, the team learns about Dr. O's history as a Ranger. Our blue screen is falling apart. It didn't like us.
Continue.
It's part of the aesthetic. No, that's okay. We're just gonna add to the entertainment here. It's fine.
I'm very proud of you. Oh my god.
The entire show is falling apart. Low quality, high energy.
Oh no.
Production.
I think it broke.
Nah, it's just the arm. I can put it back on.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I can
Do you
put it
want
back
me to put things up?
No, that's okay.
Are you sure?
We're good.
Okay.
It's fine.
I was gonna tell you I'm very proud of you for reading that script. You're doing
And writing
real
in all
good.
your poop jokes in the middle? Yeah,
what
I could
poop
tell.
jokes? Yeah. Sorry, not sorry.
No, there's no
he
hope
hasn't
with
said
this.
any of my jokes.
This table is a death.
I'm so
is a
sad.
death trap.
Death Trap Table Nights.
Yeah. Oh, this day's going great, huh? We were so prepared too, and just now the show is just backfiring against us. It's okay. It's fine.
It's fine. It's
We'll keep
just,
going.
You know, things happen. It's fine.
No big deal. So
We're big.
anyway, super long story short, the Ranger. So Tommy gets captured. The new Rangers find out his identity, and then the Rangers go onto the island that Tommy's captured on, and they bring him back. But along with him coming back, he actually gets his new Black Ranger powers, and it's a whole epic thing. And even though it was like a very short time window for the battle, it was still epic to see Tommy Oliver back in action as a kid. And speaking of Tommy, last but not least, I can't not mention the Green with Evil arc from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Season 1. It was the only time that the series had a 5-episode arc, like, devoted to it, like, you know, part 1 through 5, like, so obviously it was treated as a big deal. Tommy's the new kid in town. Rita captures him because she knows that he has a really good fighting talent, and he chooses him to be her new Green Ranger. Tommy's Green Ranger powers prove to be way too much for the others to handle, and he single-handedly takes down all of the Rangers by himself, basically. He even does like a Hadoken kind of a thing at one point, which I don't understand why he has that power, but it was still pretty dope. And then
That's why. It's because it was dope.
Obviously. So the Rangers are obviously shocked to find out that this evil Ranger is their new friend that they just met, Tommy, and they set out to free him from the spell that Rita has over him. Also around this time, Tommy gets his iconic Dragon Zord, and the music just stays with you as a kid from his Dragon Flute. He and Jason engage in a really cool fight for survival. And after this, the show goes back to like 90s one-off episodes where they're just kind of, you know, very self-contained stories. But this arc specifically was super pivotal for the show going forward. It gave us the franchise's most important character. It proved that kids actually did enjoy watching serialized storytelling and that they wanted to follow that story into the next episode the following morning. And it heavily boosted the overall toy profile of the show, which is obviously the main source of money for Power Rangers as a franchise. It proved that it wasn't a fluke, that it would, that the show wasn't a fluke. It would endure, and it was about to become even more of a phenomenon. But yeah.
And he was part of the team after that?
Yes, stayed with the team.
Was he the Green Ranger at that point, or?
Yes.
Yeah.
He started off green. Midway through Season 2, he loses his powers, becomes the White Ranger. At the end of Season 3, going into Season 4, he becomes the Red Ranger, gets a new set of powers, and then almost 10 years later is when he becomes the Black Ranger as part of that Power Rangers Dino Thunder arc. So, yeah, he's got
Has anyone had as many powers and colors as
Nope.
Tommy? No.
No, and I'll also mention, I mean, I would have talked about more about this later in the week, but since we're mentioning it, Tommy, so as part of the Japanese footage with Tommy specifically, Tommy was supposed to be written out of the show. The Japanese character for Tommy, he actually got killed.
Ooh.
He was the Red Ranger's brother in Japan, and he was killed, and the Red Ranger carried on the fight in his brother's honor. But in Japan,
What a shame that we assume, Western audiences can't handle that kind of peril or characters dying or I think. Do you think that's accurate?
I think for the 90s, no one knew, because this was before really the anime boom, hit America. Mm-hmm. As we've talked about in our previous anime episode. So this was before. But now in 2020,
it's
It's entirely different, and yet we still think that kids can't understand good concepts.
But even back then, kids were watching, Chucky and Leprechaun and like all of these and like
horrific things.
Absolutely.
They were
horrific
also
things.
watching X-Men.
They weren't marketed to kids,
right?
But
they were still watching things with serialized storytelling. X-Men, Spider-Man, Batman and Superman for some episodes. Like we need to give kids more credit.
Sure. That's my point. Yeah, I think we need to give them more credit and allow that depth of storytelling, which I think we do nowadays. But it's just interesting they didn't back then.
Definitely. Yeah. So Tommy's original Japanese actor, the character, so he died in that show, and America ran out of footage for the Green Ranger, so he was just going to stay dead, or he was just going to be written off. Like, sorry, you lost your powers. Good luck. But fan mail kind of saved him. So many people wrote in wanting Tommy to come back.
Mail.
Yes, they wanted him to come back, and as a result, Japan actually shot extra footage that was never used in their show. They shot with their costumes and their monsters and everything, and shot their own footage exclusively for Power Rangers. Made all new monster costumes, all new fight scenes and everything, and even shot their Japanese footage to reflect the American characters. So Billy was using much more technical equipment in that Japanese footage because that was the character that we'd established here. Zach was much more goofy. It's just
that's cool.
Very interesting. Yeah, it was very interesting how they shot all that stuff. But yeah, fan mail basically saved Tommy.
I've just been watching that link that Alex gave us. Is a little unrelated, but you'll see why I brought it up. But
I trust you.
The video game series on Netflix. I'm like 3 episodes in. It's fantastic so far. I very much recommend it.
Oh yeah,
I'm
High
trying
Score.
to remember what it's called. High Score. Thank you. Yes, it's really nicely produced and a bunch of interesting stuff that I did not know anything about. Part of which is, the relationship between the American Nintendo and Japan, and how, a lot of stuff that happened within the world of Nintendo video games was sort of relied on that relationship between the two and the translation of things. So it's interesting to hear that come from the Power Rangers also, that they, they were using the Japanese studios to actually make
and that's
content.
really more of a censorship thing. That's not necessarily just Power Rangers. It's censors saying, oh, we can't put that on for kids. Like, it's just like a standard in general.
Yeah. So the biggest thing with that was Nintendo Power, the magazine, when they were going to start it. The editor, or I'm not sure what her position was, the producer of the magazine, went to Japan, and they didn't like any of her ideas, because the culture was so different. Mm-hmm. But she stuck to her guns, and they called her the Dragon Lady, funnily enough. And so she got that pushed through, and it was good for an American audience.
Absolutely. I just. To that point, I actually did watch an episode recently, and I discovered, because I never knew this before, the debacle with not exclusively the E.T. game, but how that was involved, where they made kind of more copies of the game than systems were available. And surprise, there was a huge crash in the 80s where it was a wonder that video games kind of existed. If it wasn't for Nintendo with the NES system, who knows where video games would be today, or if there would be video games in America, quite frankly.
Honestly,
I do think it would come over eventually, but not the way that history played it out. So I think that's interesting. I find it funny that E.T. is the one that, or one of the ones that contributed towards that.
E.T. the Atari game. Yeah, which the first episode is a lot about that and about the guy who made that game. And
What an atrocious game.
yeah, he was. It took, I forget the details, but it took a certain amount of time to make a game back then, and they came to him with like half of that amount of time and were like, "Hey, can you make a game for this? Like, it's all ahead." And he was like, "Sure, let's go for it." And yeah, it didn't work.
Sounds like most movie games to me. Like
Didn't work
we
out well.
discovered that this movie exists. Now you have to make a game for it. You have 6 months. Cool, great, awesome. That sounds pretty accurate. based on my
Crossover. The
knowledge.
battle between Japanese and American companies is still very strong. Just look at the Mother games.
Oh, absolutely. I find it amazing that we just kind of don't trust the American consumer in a lot of ways from like a company
Yeah.
standpoint.
Yeah, but it's interesting nowadays because we're in much more of an international culture world. You know what I mean?
Right.
Where you'll watch Japanese shows with subs if you're clever. And it's not unusual to absorb culture from other countries. Another point, real quick, that Crossover Lord made about kids and like. He said kids can understand any concept at all. It all depends on the parenting, in my opinion, which is a very good point. I think if you raise your kids well and they have a thirst for education and knowledge, then they're gonna, they can absolutely handle deep stories with people dying and
Like
with
we got Avatar: The Last Airbender, and so many people hold the show in high regard. I certainly do, and that was on Nickelodeon, which is meant to be, targeted for kids. Whether or not there was a family-oriented bit of writing involved with the process, the target demographic is kids, ultimately. They got to buy the merch, they got to buy the toys and such.
Yeah.
And that was complex storytelling, especially as you watch it now on Netflix, where you can binge it and see all the details that are presented from beginning to end. There was clear thought to the entire story. So when you take a franchise like Power Rangers in the year 2020, and for a lot of years, they never quite truly really invested in that model of complex storytelling as opposed to their Japanese counterpart from episode to episode. That's what I find most appealing, that they kind of ignored a lot of it. Now, granted, with Hasbro taking over Power Rangers, as I've been watching the latest seasons, they've actually kind of changed that mindset, and they're actually doing more serialized storytelling and actually taking in plot lines from like 10 years ago that were unresolved and adding it into this season now, which no one would expect Power Rangers to do because that requires a lot of thought for the franchise. But so the franchise is going in a positive direction. So I hope that I can add more Hasbro era episodes to my overall favorites, basically.
right. Not quite there yet.
Not quite there.
That's probably
yet.
a lot to do with time as well. Like you experienced some of this stuff in your golden age of being a kid and wanting the toys and all of that good stuff.
Basically, any episode that involves a team up of Power Ranger teams or a finale arc or any Sixth Ranger moment, like all of those episodes will mostly fall under my favorites list in general, and I'll never go through ranking all of them, but either way, yeah. So,
Cool.
yeah.
You want to play some games?
Yeah, let's play some games. I gotta get out of the chair.
I
And
want to bring my awesome retro gaming screen up.
please
Retro
do.
Oh,
I have to get out
look
and
at that.
turn on the PS2.
Look at that.
All right. My mess that I made in front of
HD
Everything.
720p.
Harry, don't bend in front of the stream.
That's okay. They can't see his booty.
God.
The angle is too high.
You show off your bracelet?
Oh yeah, my
That's
Morpher,
easy.
also a Time Force one.
Your outfit is so dope today,
Yeah,
Mary. Can I
it's
just?
very Green Ranger-esque.
Can I
I'm
just
glad
point
one
that
thing
out?
worked on the stream today.
It's so cool. Oh, don't be like that. Everything
You're
worked.
fine. Everything was fine.
Let me take my controller out from underneath. This actually works out just fine. I'll actually start by playing the not first level, but I'll play A level, and it's gonna look crummy
Is this
by
like
today's standards.
it looks like a kind of like Avengers-esque.
In what way?
The game style. Am I correct? The sort of top-down adventure-ish beat 'em
Oh
up.
yeah. Oh, you're saying like the latest Avengers. I didn't know if you're talking like a MCU game or something. But yeah.
No. I'm talking about. I'm blanking, but the older Avengers games, the Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Not Avengers. Ultimate Alliance.
Similar in that way. Yes. Beat 'em up. Find some items. Do some things.
Yeah, crossover. I put a couple of filters on it to make it look like it's on an old CRT arcade display.
So cool.
Pretty swanky, huh?
Super swanky. It's the swankiest.
It suits the graphical style for sure.
Use my analog. Yes. Turn it on. So I'm just gonna kind of jump to the last level. Have not played this game in 10 years.
The final mutation.
What's interesting about these like era of Power Ranger games is like each Ranger has their own individual stats, so it's not like you're just playing a color swap, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, Quantum Ranger, the 6th Ranger, is the best, so you gotta play as him.
Yeah, wow. This is... Wow.
Old.
Sorry. I didn't...
This is
for
wow.
some reason, I guess I didn't see the PS2 when we were setting up today. So, like...
You've been
got
occupied.
voice acting.
Release the evil criminals. Watch your
The actual TV show actors, believe it or not.
They recorded these lines for the game specifically?
They did.
That's cool.
All right. Oh, look at this vintageness. That's a kick. That's a grab. That's a jump. And that's a punch. Okay. I can get behind that. Cyclobots! I always like the look of the henchmen in this season, too. Which is very clean.
So golden.
Yeah. Come here. There we go. Clink, clank. Nope, I can't jump up to them.
Clink, clank, clunk.
PS1 graphics.
It's actually not bad.
All things considered, yeah, it's
Yeah.
not bad. This guy's really kicking my ass. There we go.
I mean, PS1 graphics are, typically can be really, really bad. So this on the scale of things isn't that bad. I'm actually pretty impressed. It looks like an N64 game. The character models remind a crossover of Mega Man Legends.
Oh, that's fair.
I never played Legends. Is
So
that
what's
a 3D
interest-
Mega Man?
Sorry?
Mega Man Legends, is that a 3D Mega Man?
Yes.
Yeah, I never played that.
I have no clue what that does. Yeah, so what's interesting about this game is that your goal is to collect like hourglasses because you have a countdown up top, so you want to keep extending that time. I have zero memory of what comes next. Oh, I just can't
Old
see 'cause
games
it's
like
dark.
that remind me of like Legend of the Dragoon, and I know I keep talking about it 'cause it's my favorite, but like it just
I
old
haven't heard
games.
you talk about that. What is that?
Legend of the Dragoons is like an old turn-based game.
Yeah?
Drat.
Yeah, about dragons.
Like
and
RPG?
dragoon. Yeah, like RPG. But yeah, this game was different though because when you fought someone, you would have this special move, and there would be this box, and when it went white, you would have to press the X to like do these special moves.
Oh, like Mario RPG style timed attacks.
Yes.
Where you get a bonus on your attack if you do the timing well.
Yep.
I always liked that. That was like the Mario and Luigi, which the company tragically has gone under, but we just found out the other day. But yeah, they did.
Oh, yeah, right.
Really good job of that in their battle system.
Ooh, I'm getting rolled over.
I wouldn't walk into that if I were American.
Thanks.
I would avoid it.
Good to know.
I mean,
Coach.
that's just me. You can do what you want.
Choose to
Oh,
save
there was,
my life.
there was
thanks.
supposed to be a sequel to Legend of Dragoon for the PS2, but it was cancelled.
It was such a
Sad.
good game. It
They
was
didn't
so
know any
long.
better.
There were like 4 discs, and were like hours long.
Oh, I am not doing well. This is not going good. Leap. Nope. I died.
Oh yeah, Look at the audience rating for Dragoon. 5 stars across the board. It was obviously popular.
Well,
Yeah.
that went terribly.
Die?
I'll start with level 1. We'll make
I
this
was
a
gonna
little
say,
easier.
I was going to say, you're jumping into the, what is, I assume is the
I
hardest
was
level.
trying to be a pro gamer. It didn't work out.
We know how that
Surprise,
works
surprise.
out. Generally speaking, we know how that works out for us. Pro gamers. Pro streamers.
Something.
Pro something.
We'll figure that out when we die. Enjoy the go, Barney.
So if you haven't already, giving us a like and subscribe.
For show.
Follow us on all the cool shit, because that's up there.
We are the Dirty Table Knights here at Knights of the Dirty Table.
There.
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Twitch.
You look like a Power Ranger. With your background, I'm all for it.
Dope, dope.
Hey.
check on him again.
That's my mating call. That's how I hit on all the men. Every day it's different, but
Lit.
today that's that one. I bet so many people are out there Twitch right now and they're like, haha, I heard it. Sorry.
The sound
Hi,
of my
guys.
people. Oh man, this circuit. This is a lot of stuff. All right, I get it, circuit. You're fine. So yeah, my time ship crashed. I landed on this island.
No.
Now I gotta go save the day.
These bonuses will stop the countdown briefly. Watch out, Ranger! There are boulders falling down those cliffs. If you're not careful, you'll be squashed.
Thanks, circuit. I appreciate you looking out for me, bud.
Extra life, awesome. Well done. You'll find super time bonuses like this on each level.
Leap. Oh.
Meow, meow.
Come here, you tin can piece of garbage. There we go. All right. I'm doing better than before.
Boy.
I haven't died yet.
Boy. That's a plus.
It is a plus. For me, oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Have you died inside, though? Just a little.
All the time.
Maybe when the table went down, yes.
Did you guys cover this? The Powerpuff Girls coming back?
What?
What?
A live-action show on the CW?
Now you'll be vulnerable.
Oh, dude.
That's
It's
not.
bad.
That
It's
is not
horrible.
real.
That
No,
can't be
it
real.
is. There's a trailer for it. I've seen it.
No.
I am not for it. It does not look good.
Way.
Can you bring up that trailer?
Can you watch it?
Yes, I can.
Well, I meant more just for us rather than for the stream because legal reasons. But like, I just need to see an image to
Oh,
like.
we can bring it up on the stream. It's a trailer. I mean, they want people to see it.
Yeah. Yeah, they would. That can't be real.
I could have sworn there was a trailer.
There, all I'm seeing
it?
is like reaction videos. No, this is 5 years ago. That's not real.
Huh.
So
I could have sworn I saw a live action trailer because it was with these three.
Yeah, I think that was fan made.
Okay.
Yeah,
Never mind.
that makes a lot more sense.
You're welcome, guys.
Variety has learned that a live action version of the
God.
classic cartoon series is in development at the CW. Interesting.
Did we ask for this? just make a new show?
Yeah, I don't see how that translates to a live action show, really. Without just changing so many fundamentals that, like you said, do another show.
Nobody asked for this.
The Puffy Pow Girls.
Like, if this was a show where, or if it was based on like a comic book or something, and it's like, oh my god, we're finally bringing it to live action, dope. Like, that'd be one thing, but nobody asked for a live action Powerpuff Girls. Like, quite frankly, nobody asked for a live action Avatar: The Last Airbender either.
Yeah.
And we're getting it on Netflix, and they just fired their creators. So,
Weird.
just like nobody's asking for this. If you're not gonna do it right, don't do it. Save yourself the PR. Oh, I do not have a lot of time to save the day.
You can collect some more time
I need more time! Literally.
What?
to do Power Ranger things.
Yes.
Fight.
You look so cool right now, Merrick, because you're like right in the middle of all the Rangers.
That's what I
Have you
just
seen
told
it?
them.
No, it's like I'm important.
It's so
My
dope.
eyesight's terrible, so.
It's so dope.
I
You're
can
with
get-
you're
I
with
can
the
get
wrong
Barbatron.
you're with the wrong team, but
It's the thought that counts.
well, you're making a new crossover.
Dope. Oh, 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 oh. Come on.
Crossover
Yeah!
says they did not fire the creators; they left on their own accord.
Look out, Ranger! The time.
Well, okay, yes, but I mean, like, in terms of, like, it
They let
becoming
them-
so
they
tense.
let them go.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Is
They let them
what
go.
you meant, as in they should have fought to make them stay.
Yes.
Yeah, for 100%. They should be fighting to keep them happy.
After the first movie, you know, did horrendously. One of the worst films ever made, you know.
Oh, this cutscene though.
It's from the show. In case you couldn't tell, maybe I'm.
I love it though. I
mansplaining too
just
much,
love
but yeah.
it has that retro PS1 look.
So what's interesting about their Megazord, the Time Force's Megazord in particular, oh, I'm not being their Megazord, I'm actually being mine. It's my Q-Rex, just like on the table. Fun fact about the Quantosaurus Rex, it was the #1 selling toy back in 2001, because my Q-Rex can transform via my morpher on my wrist all by itself and become this fighting mode that you see on the
How
screen.
many do you have?
How many what do I have?
Morpheus thing.
I have a
many
good
morphers?
amount of morphers to answer
Morphers.
your question.
There's a book about morphing. It's called Animal Morphing, I think.
The animal.
Where-
Animorphs?
That was a
Animal
good-
morphing.
That was a good book.
If you want more bad news, they're also bringing back Fresh Prince of Bel-Air as a drama show.
Are you kidding? Is that a joke?
I'm not sure about that because I saw they put a trailer out last year, but that was also fan made. So I don't know if that's legit.
If that's true, oh
I
my
saw the
goodness.
fan trailer that was made last year,
Oh, from Will Smith?
not from Will Smith. Is there something from Will Smith?
Will Smith and Morgan Cooper are teaming to adapt.
All right, so they're being legit.
Oh, that's fine. I don't know. I felt like if it was like Will Smith was being replaced or something, or like it wasn't. I don't know. If Will Smith's behind it, I feel like it's got to be close to the roots.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah, it's called Bel-Air. There's an official trailer.
Oh, that's the fan trailer.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, I think they may have seen that and were inspired to do it, but
Huh.
yeah, that trailer that was put out last year, that was fans.
Original producers and creators are all set to return as exec producers.
I think it's a cool concept.
Reboots remain in high demand across broadcast, cable, and streaming services. Do they, though? Really?
Like, says who? That's my
Hey,
mindset.
Yo Daddy Doe's in the chat.
Hi, yo, Daddy.
He goes, it's legit, and it's not bad news. We don't know that yet. It could
Nope.
be. These things can always go wrong.
All right, I am in the training room for some reason, but I don't know what that does. It's been a while since I've known what that does.
Hey, Yo Daddy Doe, drop us a follow.
Yeah, what the heck?
For show, for show.
gotta get your sword. Wait, no, you don't get a sword. The sword is the mod, right?
What?
Well, you'll get some kind of icon if you follow
Oh,
next to the name.
sorry, I didn't know if you were talking about the game. I'm very confused.
No. Talking about the game of the chat.
The
chat
game
game.
of chat.
I think I saw Jack pulling in. I saw he has a Prius, right?
Yes. So, for those that don't know, this thing that I'm in right now, this is the clock tower, and this is actually our home of base for the Power Rangers, so everyone kind of has, like, they're trying to make money, so they do, like, this odd jobs kind of service where we can either paint your walls or clean your windows.
The Power Rangers will do that for you?
Yes, because they have to make money somehow. Training level 3. Why not?
Oh, it's not Jack. It's Yo Daddy Do in the car.
Oh, that's funny.
That's it, Ranger.
Wrestling style.
What are you doing?
I can throw cyclobots.
They turned into Sonic rings. Hey, happy late anniversary to the Scott Pilgrim movie.
Oh, word.
That's a dope movie.
Yeah, it is.
I almost watched that the other night. It came up on my Netflix, and I was like, "Should we watch this?"
Jack is actually here.
Word.
So why don't we take a quick break,
Yes.
and we'll just make sure we get all of our bearings set.
Yeah.
That way, nothing else on our set
Sure.
goes wrong.
Sure.
And we will be back in just a moment, friends, with Jack Lowe himself.
Maybe I'll go back and run the intro and let the whole thing actually play.
Sure, do that.
Nuts of the Dirty Table.
Dirty Table Nights. Awesome entertainment for your delight. We are the Dirty Table Nights. Live on Twitch Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night.
Heroes playing games, talking pop culture news. We got what you need, we'll be here for you. Crossover will tell us if we're wrong or right. Hang out with the gang every weekend night.
We're the ultimate team.
Come on and check out the stream.
We'll be chasing our dreams. Believe it.
I'm just here for the memes.
We are the Knights.
I'm really
Side
glad
by
that
side.
worked.
Super creepy too, because your elbows are like attached in the middle. You look like you. It was
Yeah.
just one arm in the middle. That was like,
Oh God. You don't
Ladies
want
and
that.
gentlemen, Jack Lowe.
Hello.
What is going on, handsome?
Russ and Ante.
Oh, you know, just hanging out. It's been a weird, year. Just
Oh,
making it
yeah.
through. One
Yeah,
day at a
man.
time.
Tell us about it. I just saw your Instagram with the. I was looking up your titles and stuff, and I saw you the Instagram. Next con, who the fuck knows?
It'd be nice.
which was like a
maybe-
pang of sadness, but also hilarious.
maybe Rhode Island next year. So like November 2021. Watch out.
Well, watch this space. We might see the cosplay king in action.
Oh man, yeah. I've been working on Mando. I finally got my. It's been a bit of a challenge getting commissions for different parts because I did the armor. That's my strong suit. I wasn't really ready to handle a flak jacket and leather working, so I have some other folks, some really great people who are handling that. And finally got the soft parts, so I've been trying to work on how to get things secured to it. Still think that I might have gotten the armor a little dark, but we'll see.
That's quite the project.
Yeah,
That's
it
been-
turned
We're
into
excited to
way-
see the final product.
It's been way longer than I thought it would be, but it's okay. Like it's definitely like it's a big character to try to get right, and there's like a lot of scrutiny and
And you are detail oriented.
yeah. So hopefully that works
good.
out for me. But it's been good. I moved, so it's been different. I don't have access to all the tools and the workspace that I had before, so that's been a challenge to adjust with. But all in all, I'm definitely like I'm on the up and up. Yeah, I'm feeling a lot better. Got that taken care of.
Good, man.
How's Morty with the move?
Morty's
does he like
great.
it?
Yeah, he loves the new space. He's got a lot of cool like high end windows to
Morty is Jack's cat.
to just
by the way.
lord over everybody. Yeah,
Good.
Yeah, he's adorable. You can find him on my Instagram.
That he is. That
Awesome,
he
man.
is.
Well, we're thrilled to have you here. So I figured I would ask. I understand that you were not quite a Power Rangers fan as a kid, and that's perfectly fine.
I should explain myself,
Please.
since I dare to be here.
Oh, I
during
love
this
a
momentous
good
week.
build-up.
How dare you?
What do you call it? I definitely had my time with Power Rangers. Do not get me wrong.
Good.
But I remember that the stigma as a child of Power Rangers after a certain age
Oh yeah.
meant that you had to give it up if you wanted to remain cool. And I was foolish enough to think that mattered at the time.
I was gonna
So,
start
I mean,
We
like,
didn't know any better.
I dropped it off because, I mean, let's face it, I had Star Wars, I had, Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And all these other different cartoons and stories to get into, Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Power Rangers definitely fell off by the wayside.
No, I get that. I kind of had to hide my love for Power Rangers for a long time. I never gave it up, but I couldn't talk about it with anybody because it wasn't cool. So I felt
That's
like I was
funny
keeping this
vote.
dark secret for so long. So there's actually no judgment for me. Now, with a resurgence with the brand and such, now there's no problem. I would absolutely encourage anyone to
Yeah,
fall in
like, I
love
mean,
with
hey,
it.
pop culture's not what it was even 20 years ago. I mean,
Definitely.
God forbid what it was 50 years ago.
Yeah.
In terms of like how people who are really into pop culture were treated. But in any case, worse things to be treated and made fun of for. But when it comes to Power Rangers, I always thought there was something weird about it, and I couldn't quite put my finger on it as a kid because I didn't know any better. But then I remember reading about the history of it and how it came to be, how they would just take old Japanese TV shows and just like cut in American actors. So, classic American move.
Cheap,
just,
cheap, cheap.
Whitewash that real quick. But no, like they made something totally different out of it, which is pretty darn creative. But yeah, it was just very strange. It's like one thing isn't like the other. I was just watching Sesame Street 5 minutes ago. And this seems familiar. Is this another one of those? I'm waiting for Grandma's coming. No.
Where's Oscar?
Yeah. So it never quite stuck with me after a while. I was like, I remember seeing like Dino Force, and I guess that's where they're at. Okay.
Cool. All right, I'm up to date now. All right, great.
We were
See
just
you
talking
guys.
actually about or I was about international culture and how nowadays there's access to that, and also it's more acceptable. Like I feel like if when we were growing up and when we were kids, if you were like, oh, I'm watching, I mean, it just wouldn't happen. You wouldn't be like, oh, I'm watching this Japanese TV show. You know what I mean? They just didn't.
Let's be real. I was definitely watching a ton of Dragon Ball Z, but it was basically, yeah, you're right. Like it's whatever was available to me or us, which is what's on television.
Right.
The internet has been a boon for being able to for everyone to be on the same page.
And you were you watching that in English though, dubbed?
Oh yeah,
Dragon Ball Z.
I'm a dub.
Yeah. So which I'm not gonna get.
We're not gonna get
we're not
into the
starting that
subtitles
today.
the whole time.
Not gonna get into that conversation.
I'll
right
watch
now.
Parasite. I did, and I loved it. I'll watch. I love
Oh,
subtitle
man.
movies.
Great
I keep
movie.
them on, but I need to be able to look away and
Yeah.
not miss dialogue.
I appreciate that. I mean, this is and I, personally, I'm a big fan of subs over dubs. But that's not what I was getting into.
Like-
But you were watching
That's fair.
the Americanized version that was prepared and released to American audiences, whereas nowadays people will watch
A show like that couldn't
something
exist.
from all over the place.
yeah.
Just kids have more access to larger storytelling, basically larger worlds, larger environments where they can invest in these characters and kind of know almost every single detail about them. It's like not the same when Power Rangers was starting out, and Power Rangers has kind of been on the slow uptake
Yeah.
towards that. It wasn't really up until this past set of seasons, like the last couple years since Hasbro took over the franchise, where they're actually implementing storylines and plots from 10 years ago into their seasons now.
Love it.
So it's just like they're actually starting to push forward with it. For the longest time, Power
Take it
Rangers
actually a
was
little
not
seriously.
into carrying stuff over, but
Yeah, like that's interesting to hear. I mean, it's nice to see them kind of like take the lore a little bit more seriously. I mean, like the movie, I wouldn't have mind seeing that go a little further and like try to like do even more with the second one,
the 2017 one.
which I still haven't seen, but like I wanted to. I really
We just watched it the other day.
the design seemed kind of weak, but
It's
other than that,
it's yeah. I mean, it might not be to everyone's
I like them
taste.
being bolder for Power Rangers. Like Power Rangers, like the segments that were from the original show are so out there, and the like everything about them is so like it's so
Very kabuki
cheese.
theater in a whole lot of ways.
Love it.
Yeah.
And I wish that they'd found a way to incorporate that more into the design, the art direction for the movie.
More sort of garish,
Not hating on
garish design, the more toy like.
I would have liked a
design.
little bit more cartoon to it.
That's fair. I mean, they could have. We'll definitely be talking about this throughout the week
Yes.
too, so I don't want to
Yeah,
get too
yeah.
much into stuff about it. But
But I enjoyed it, and I wish there was going to be a sequel. I think there was.
do you
there
think
was-
they
there was
deserve a
space
sequel
for
when
it.
you see it? That's the question.
Yeah.
That is the question. Yeah, I'll have to figure that out.
Yes.
I,
Message me when you have seen it, because I'm curious if you think it deserves a sequel or doesn't deserve a sequel. That will be
Okay.
the deciding factor.
Yeah.
And then we can engage in conversation based on that, whether you are right or wrong. So.
There is no right or wrong.
So do you remember from when you were younger what seasons you did watch?
Probably OG.
Oh yeah, I mean like
Because we're not that far apart in age, so I'm just curious when you kind of felt.
I don't even know what I remember as far as characters. It was so long ago, and I've consumed quite a bit of media in my time that
And that's just
it's
Star
pushed
Wars.
some stuff away.
That's okay.
Into the back bins. I remember.
I love this guessing game.
Yeah,
Guess
like
that
I
season.
intentionally
I'm
left
totally up for
myself.
this
I
game.
intentionally didn't prepare anything because I wanted to be as helpless as I could.
Low quality, high energy.
I remember like the Red Ranger had long hair, right? Is that
Yep, you're talking in space, Andros.
okay? Yeah.
Which you would actually appreciate because we've mentioned this earlier in the week that up till that point, this was the time when Power Rangers actually did interconnect all of its seasons. So up till that point, it was technically the end game of the franchise because it was
They're
going to be
building
canceled.
up to all that.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it
I remember
culminated
a
in
Christmas
everything.
special. I remember a Christmas special like very vividly.
Always horrible. That will never change.
Yeah. It's just like I don't know. It was a nice idea to just kind of like reinvent this for American audiences, and I kind of mentioned it offhand earlier, but like it definitely couldn't happen today because we're all too like to what Barney said. We're all too aware of different like shows, what have you. Like think about MXC, which just took old episodes of the show Takeshi's Castle,
Yeah.
and made it into something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
That works. That's a whole different story, but we can research all these things and we can figure out exactly what it was that it came from, and we can figure that out now where we couldn't back when Power Rangers first started. They could get away with that, and we were none the wiser.
Right. Right. No, internet access has kind of opened up our knowledge of what is out there. Now people can watch
freedom of
any show from
information.
any country in any language online.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter. Hopefully the dubs are okay. But
I've heard people who learned English through watching The Simpsons in their native language and then rewatching the episodes in English. I've been meaning to do that with Spanish to see if that works because I know me some Simpsons.
I mean, I learned some Spanish from The Simpsons, from the English Simpsons.
Yeah, oh yeah, me too.
I know es bueno.
Well, no, when you take Spanish, I remember when I used to watch it before Spanish, and then slight digression, and then watching it after and like listening to Bumblebee Man, when he's like, "Ay, mi estómago," I'm like, "Oh, his stomach hurts." And you get that from like seeing him hold himself, but like, it's another thing to know the word.
so what you're saying
Crossover
is
says he learned English from The Simpsons. He's Portuguese.
no kidding.
Oh, yeah. See, it's it. Simpsons touches all.
All right, so we need a Simpsons week.
Yeah, I'll be on all week.
Being different characters cosplaying the entire week.
Ooh, see, that's a question with Simpsons cosplay. Do you
So
make
much-
your skin yellow?
So much yellow face paint.
As long as it's not Apu, that's all. That's all.
Yeah, well, I mean, you shouldn't. It's kind of a touchy subject to cosplay characters of like a different race.
Yeah, but
It's
what,
like-
what race are the Simpsons?
It's controversial.
Yes.
Well, the Simpsons, it depends, because I mean, like everyone else except for if you're yellow, you're white. That's what it's meant to be.
Yeah.
Because they like there's if you have any question about that, there's a picture of Homer's hand when he's trying to figure out which one's Lenny and which one's Carl, and it says Lenny white, Carl black. So hands down,
So
if you're
the
yellow is just
yellow
supposed to be white.
is
So
their
you technically
version
shouldn't
of
even
white.
use yellow face paint. I don't know how we got here.
What are we talking about?
I'm pretty sure you got us here, Jack. So.
No, he made the Apu comment.
Just very
True.
informative
True.
about the Homers.
Once
I
again,
just-
our show is
I'm
just
a wealth
going
of
down the
knowledge with
toilet. It's great.
Simpsons. I'm just slowly trying to transition it now.
You missed earlier. The blue screen half fell down, and then we knocked a bunch of the stuff off the table trying to put it up. All live.
Honestly,
All
yeah.
live.
Live for everyone's viewing pleasure.
Flying by the seat of our pants.
You gotta
as
tape those
usual.
down.
You bet your sweet hiney. And on that note, so Jack, feel free to grab the controller that's on
Oh,
top
yes.
of the PS2 down there. I'm gonna get us over to two-player mode,
Oh,
and we're gonna do
here
some
we
fighting.
go.
We're gonna thrash it out.
We're gonna thrash it out.
Is it competitive or cooperative?
Competitive. It's so it's set to the Megazord stages in the game. This is from Power Rangers Time Force from 2001. So we have options to play as Megazords as well as monsters or main villains from the game.
11, I think. Was it fourth grade, third, fourth grade?
Who are the Purple Twins? The Purple Twins from The Simpsons? Who's that?
You talking about?
My knowledge is not that strong with Simpsons.
The crossover is
Jerry
saying
and Terry.
the crossover is saying that some of the Asians are white skinned.
Yeah, if you'll see, they'll be like slightly thinner. Like, what am I trying to word?
What
words
lighter
are-
lighter shade of
Thank you. Yeah, it's a much lighter shade of yellow.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Sherry and Terry. Oh,
Sherry and Terry, yeah.
they're like super pale.
Are they Asian though? I never thought about.
No, he wasn't saying they're Asian. He was just saying that they
They are a
are
little
they
pale
are white or pale skinned. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird how they chose those color palettes for each of the characters. I mean, like Matt Groening thought it up in 5 minutes before the meeting. So
Aviate's just jumped in the chat. What's up, Aviate?
AVA! What's going on,
And,
bro?
he says he has PS4 codes for us for Rogue Company.
Dope.
Thank you. We will. We'll definitely look that up.
Oh, I forgot we could actually pick our arena. That's dope. Do you want to go to the Dawn of Time?
that sounds.
Does that sound appealing?
Yeah.
To the Dawn of Time, everyone.
And beyond.
Travel into us.
Da-na-na,
Travel into us.
da-na-na.
Travel into our timeshare.
Travel into us.
spot with giant megas.
And that's all we have time for today on the turn.
It's been a long fucking show, okay?
Oh, we can swear now.
Yes, gameplay, we're safe.
We can officially.
Merrick,
We bring the
watch your
gameplay up, and
mouth.
Merrick's just like immediately into the swearing. Get him. Who's who?
Wrecking you.
I'm Rancic. I can't pull a knife out of my knee. Sorry, Brian. All right, well,
And you were fighting a Zord when Jack is a Zord?
Jack is the Shadow Zord.
Shadows.
Oh, you ran 6 Zord.
Get wrecked.
Or the sword. I forget the actual name of it.
Get
Why
him.
is it escaping me?
Get him.
Oh man.
Yes.
Oh wow. You just got
You're kicking my butt, pal.
Yes, go Jack.
I don't even know the controls.
Kick his butt.
They're pretty
Merrick beat our butts yesterday
I
on.
don't mean to spam, but I got this like spin kick move.
Yeah.
that I find very fetching.
Do
Being
it.
pretty dope.
Do it, whatever
no,
you can
yeah.
do. You just gotta win because he beat us so bad yesterday on.
Okay, then I'll spam.
So like you just gotta.
Get out of here.
It doesn't matter how much he's spamming. Hey, Aviate's got his new PC hooked up.
Dope.
What?
We ran out of time. You win.
Yes.
Good job.
Whoa.
Good enough for me.
What was that? 60 seconds?
Basically, yeah. I guess you can't adjust the time, which is weird because the game is Power Rangers Time Force.
The irony.
This was one of those games where they probably had 6 months to put this together, and this was what we got. Oh,
Yeah.
or maybe I can change the
So that's
configuration.
what happens when you market it to the lowest bidder instead of the most passionate.
I mean, it
Round
doesn't. It
times.
doesn't. I haven't played it, but it doesn't look that bad.
We can.
I
Let's
don't
give
think
us
it's-
3 minutes.
I don't think it's in the upper echelons of terrible games, at all.
It's not the
Doesn't
worst
seem-
game ever
It doesn't
made.
seem that bad.
Let's try again. I'll be Frax. I really like Frax too.
What the
a lot.
frax? Just try not to frax this up, okay, Merrick?
Maybe the V-Rex Zord this time.
We still have plenty of time for that to happen on the show, Barney.
What precisely makes it a
It all
V?
got fraxed up already.
We'll go to the Coliseum of Frax.
No, that seems fixed.
Time Shadow. That's the name of the Zord you're playing as. I don't know why they got the names wrong in this game. That's very weird.
They got the names wrong?
Of their own Zords, yeah.
Yeah, they called it the Shadow Zord.
Also sounds pretty on brand.
That's
for-
impressive.
Well, they probably had a different team and like a whole different
They just had like a printout where they
division
didn't translate
doing
it
the
badly.
names. They're like, I don't know, Shadow Zord.
Yeah,
Pretty sure that kanji is something else. No, it's just Shadow Zord.
What should we call this one?
Come on, man, we gotta ship this out next week.
Yeah, really. Yeah, in this game, so the Q-Rex is what's sitting on my table right now, but in the game it's called the V-Rex.
Merrick, what are your thoughts on Beetleborgs,
even
VR
frickin'
Troopers,
try.
and Mightily Murdered Power Rangers?
I don't
Power
know
Rangers?
about that last one.
You've heard of the Beetleborgs and VR Troopers?
Yes. Great question. Who asked? Crossover Lord?
though? Of course.
Of course.
Wow, look at you and your
VR
XL.
Troopers. So the funny thing about VR Troopers and Beetleborgs, fun facts going into this. So VR Troopers and Beetleborgs are also using Japanese footage very similar to what Power Rangers is from Super Sentai in Japan. It's almost the exact same concept. Same company that produced it, Saban and everything.
Huh.
The difference, the reason why Power Rangers was more successful than VR Troopers and Beetleborgs was VR Troopers and Beetleborgs ran out of footage in Japan, so they canceled it as a result without continuing to make new footage because it was just too expensive. They both ran for at least 60 to 70 episodes. They just ran out of footage. They both took from the Metal Heroes franchise in Japan, and VR Troopers merged like two separate sets of seasons all together. And then when they ran out of both sets of footage, actually no, sorry, 3 sets of different Metal Heroes footage, all unrelated to each other. Once they ran out of that footage, they canceled it. Beetleborgs also used 2 different sets of heroes, and then they canceled it afterwards. So,
It just didn't have the staying power.
the toys are pretty successful. I think they were just being lazy. I really do.
Oh, skin of my teeth. Look at me. I have no health. Oh
No.
my god.
Oh, we just keep fighting until time runs out.
Yeah.
Oh,
Why
I didn't
is your
pick up on
health
that.
so redonkulous right now? What are you doing?
Frax is a big boy?
Yeah, I'm bigger than you, fucko. Oh, I just figured out
Fucko.
something else.
Yeah, I think I got laser vision?
I've got thunder.
Frax didn't have this in the show. This is non-canon.
I've got thunder, I've got lightning.
Come on, how do I do that? Oh, wow.
Look
Missiles?
at
You got
Alice
missiles?
Burton.
I was trying to figure that when I was playing.
L1? Wow. Give me that extra health.
He
I
just
want
sort
the extra
of he
health,
sort of fell over so unceremoniously just then. Just on his back.
bud. Sure, save some of those power-ups for me, huh?
All right, fine. Go ahead. You got 8 seconds. Make something happen.
No. Just gonna keep wailing on it. Oh, shit. Okay. I guess I ran out of missiles.
Well, it's not like
You
they're
win this
telling you.
round.
All right, so now I have to do best 2 out of 3.
That's fair.
And then we will actually have to wrap it up because we have other Zenden Studios obligations.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yep, yep. We're
Derek?
filming a super secret second YDD show. That
Yes,
is
it does
as
involve our
yet-
good friend Derek.
as yet unreleased, but keep an eye on the YDD show for more news on that. Twitch.tv
Yeah, I'll be
/.
Guido.
YoDaddyDo. Also, are you streaming much at the moment, Jack? Are you?
Yeah, for the past week I've been elbow deep into Skyrim VR trying to like get it.
Right, I've
Modded
seen
and
some
ready
of
to
your
go.
some of the chronicles.
Oh my god, it's been. I was trying to use a certain mod list and it was not working right. Kept crashing every time I tried to like get into it.
Yep.
But now I've got it pretty much the same. I'm just missing a few key features that I would like to get back, but I'm not worried about. I can at least have fun with it now.
What are the main mods you're trying to use?
So there's one that's really cool called Vrick.
You beat my ass down.
Vrick.
VRIK. What that does is it allows me to see my body in the screen. It stands for virtual reality inverse kinematics.
Okay.
Inverse kinematics is the idea that you could take just a couple points of data and be able to back track
that's
where
horrible.
someone's body would show up. So that's like it's like backwards physics, if you will. That's what it means.
Right.
And so it's like it's trying to use the big position of where my headset and controllers are and try to roughly gauge what looks to be my body, so that I can feel a little more immersed in the game.
Yeah, I'm sure that's pretty taxing on the
It's
the game code.
These things aren't even the ones that cause a lot of challenges. It's more that there's a graphical limitation to the VR version of Skyrim because it was ported from the PS4.
Running? Nope.
So the mod list I was using was super glitchy. I spent a week trying to make it work. It didn't work. I don't want to speak ill of it, so I was not going to name it. But then I tried another one from another modder, and that list actually was quite successful. And I learned a little bit more about what I was doing wrong originally, but I still don't feel it's worth the time to try and go back to that original list. I'm happy with what I got.
Are you doing any of this live?
Yeah, I'm streaming it so you can like see it from my point of view through my right eye. So like if I use my bow and just like somebody, you can see it like from my perspective.
And that is over on your Twitch channel.
Yeah, which is Rosanante152.
Yeah, I got the
Um,
I got your
Got your handles up here,
got your,
Jack.
got your handles
Hell
right there.
yeah.
So
Improvement.
Thank
We
you.
haven't had your handles on the show once since we've had
Oh,
you, so
how
this is a
dare you.
huge improvement.
definitely look
Also,
Jack
you
up
are
on his.
kicking my ass. I picked a terrible character.
And you can also, the best part is that like I can also like speak out the lines and kind of be a little more in character when
Yeah.
when someone's like asks me something, and you know in Skyrim you get the list of options. I can actually read out the dialogue in character and it will choose it for me. So it's
Is it-
very
is-
immersive.
Is any of the fighting immersive? Like, can you
Yeah,
swing? You
I
can
swing
swing
a sword,
and
you block with a shield. You can use both hands to cast spells, so
Oh,
like
that's
you can do
cool.
it from different areas
That's
at
so
once.
cool.
So you can be like taking out a bandit on a ledge while also there's one right in front of you. Fighting dragons is pretty great in VR.
Do you
The bow is one of my favorites, but I try not to use it too much.
do you
too
use
easy.
it? Do you have a camera on at the same time?
Like what? Like me
Like
physically?
to see? Yeah, to see.
My room setup right now is not really set up for that.
right.
I'd need a wider angle lens.
I was gonna say there's a lot of that's
And
a lot of.
I'd like to put in a green screen if I did that, and I haven't quite figured out how I would do that. But it's definitely something that would be nice. I don't know. People look silly and like with the
I
headset.
know that's
on.
why you gotta do it
No.
because it's hilarious.
No.
Unless
I
you're like
don't
one of those
wanna.
people playing Beat Saber and just being super cool and chill.
Well, I
about
mean
it.
that would be cool because
Yeah.
you do it right and you can superimpose yourself on the screen.
Exactly. I've seen
I'm
some really cool
Pretty
streams
good
that
at
do
Beat
that.
Saber, so that'd be nice to do. But for the moment,
We've
it's
seen your
just-
work.
Oh, okay.
We've seen your work.
Yep,
Thank you.
yep, yep.
Well,
Also,
this last match went absolutely horribly. Sorry, Jack.
were we playing?
I deserve that based on yesterday for Sarah and Barty. That's
Yes!
right.
I'm glad I was
Cheating.
able to come in here
Cheater.
and
I feel vindicated. Thank you.
teach you a lesson.
Big
Thank you,
cheetah.
Jack. You're
No
our
problem,
hero.
buddy. Anytime.
We played the latest Power Rangers fighting game, which is very similar to Marvel vs. Capcom, and I actually didn't know what I was doing then. So
Just destroyed us repeatedly.
Sometimes you don't need to. Sometimes it's just all in the thumbs.
It's fun though. I'm always down for a bit of button bashing.
Oh yeah,
Jack, thank you so much for coming in.
absolutely. Thank you so much for having me,
Right
guys.
to-
I
Ladies
really
and
a chance
gentlemen,
to get
Jack
out of the house for
Lowe!
once.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure. You're always welcome here at
Anytime.
the dirty table, being one of our original knights.
Dirty table.
Oh,
It's been a
Highland
few
Original?
months since we've really had you on. We got to fix this. We got to get you back on again
Yeah.
sooner.
Yes.
Yeah, just let me know and I can make sure to try to get down.
And
there
maybe-
sooner.
maybe we'll
It's
make it-
tough.
we'll-
It's tough from where I am now.
I get that.
The schwa.
Well, we do have a next month. We're going to be doing so I might as well invite you in person. We're going to be doing a Smash Bros. Character Unlock Fest because I lost all of my character data. Long story short, and we're going to be cosplaying as our favorite Smash Bros. Characters, and we want to try to make this happen. So you are invited. We don't have a specific day yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
We don't have any characters locked in yet as far as our cosplay, but
Yes, we do.
oh, you're Luigi.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, my apologies.
I
don't know
think
who
I
I'm
could
gonna
slap together a
Oh, I know who
solid-
I'm going to be. I'm going to be Dark Pit because I have that cosplay from Dance Club. Duh.
I'm
Thanks,
gonna be
Mom.
Solid Snake.
Oh boy.
Sarah, who do you want to be from Smash Bros? If you
I know
know.
nothing about Smash Bros. So one of them.
So one of them.
One
okay.
of them?
One of the.
Is there Miss
there's
Peach?
not-
there's
Is
pl-
she
there's
there?
a-
Is it
there's
Peach?
not
Peach
many-
is absolutely there.
There's not many characters, so you know.
There's only
None?
8.
None of them.
Yeah, there's
Barney
only-
said none of them.
There's
so.
only a few characters.
Yeah,
well-
you might be limited in terms of options.
Well, we gotta get you back on, and if you got work beforehand, that's perfectly fine. We will be streaming for a long time. The goal is to unlock everyone in one sitting,
Heck,
which sounds insane and ridiculous and stupid, but that's the goal that we're gonna set for ourselves.
That's our vibe here.
That's the vibe.
Ridiculous and stupid. We are the Dirty Table Knights. Thank you for watching.
Believe it. Before we go, Sarah, do you have any other bits of news or information that you want to give today?
Today, news and bits.
Sarah is
Again,
cool.
I have nothing funny to say, so no.
She did get a new job today, Sarah did.
And,
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
You guys are so nice. Thank you.
Getting paid.
My money.
I like the hand gesture. on
I'm
camera,
not.
too.
I'm not on camera too, so I don't know what I'm looking at. There's
Making
nothing to
things
look
happen.
Remember
at.
this.
We have a camera, but I can't be bothered to try
I
and
don't
figure
know.
out how to get
Anyways,
it off the screen.
Yeah, I mean, follow, subscribe. We have join our Discord family, all social medias, Dirty Table Nights, and just kind of get us on there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
do
We
that.
want to be friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hit us
I
up.
just did this so I could see myself on the screen. 'cause it-
Thank you so much once again for joining the chaos here at the Dirty Table, everyone. We will be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hopefully, things won't fall apart. But we stand by our show. We had a great show today. Even if maybe other people don't believe that. That's fine. We'll see you tomorrow, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.